views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hola everyone, and welcome to Open BxRx Remote, brought to you from my living workspace, Chari Executive Suite. I'm Rhina Valentin, your hosting Café con Leche every Friday, celebrating my birthday. Woo! Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we sit with comedian, writer, actor, producer Aida Rodriguez to talk about her new HBO Max comedy special, Fighting Words, along with her upcoming projects. After that, we'll be joined by Tanya Ramos-Puig to discuss her new role as the Latin Grammy Cultural Foundation's first female president, as well as the organization's mission to support the next generation of Latin musicians and creators. Then we'll hear from stand-up comedian Edgar Rivera about his journey as a Latino comedian from New York to LA. Later on in the show, Bobby C brings us an up-to-date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And lastly, this week's Open Artist Spotlight shines on New York's all-women Afro-Caribbean music group Legacy Women, who will perform for us at the end of the show. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way, because now we are officially open. Welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host Café con Leche for the next hour, inviting you to get social with us online. That is, tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, don't forget, follow me on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So our first guest is a comedian, actress, writer, producer who is taking the world by storm, one joke at a time. In 2020, she headlined HBO's Latinx stand-up special, Entre Nos, while also appearing in Showtime's Shaquille's All-Star Comedy Jam. Most recently, she appeared in the Netflix hit comedy series, They Ready, presented by Tiffany Haddish, and now she has her own HBO special currently streaming on HBO Max titled Fighting Words, on cancel culture and social issues that not only reflect the times, but also her personal life. Everyone, please welcome comedian Aida Rodriguez.
Hi, let's go. Happy birthday.
That's how you closed it out. That's how you closed it out. Let's talk about that. Let's go.
Well, that was me paying tribute to one of my friends, actually, who I've been sick, and he texted me this morning to see if I drank some water. Tony Baker, who lost his son, and you know, our comedy community is very close-knit. That was our child. He was our nephew, and I just wanted to honor him because we all were in grief at the moment. We had a series of losses during the pandemic, and I just wanted to honor them. And I wanted to, you know, at the end of the day, I belong to the comedy community proudly, and I wanted to stand in solidarity with my brother.
Yeah, I noticed you closed out the whole thing, paying homage to 3 comedians that transitioned, I guess, while you were recording. So that's a beautiful thing. And thanks for sharing that with us. I do want to say thank you for showing so much love to the Bronx. You shot this in the Bronx.
Absolutely. I made a promise that I was going to shoot it in the Bronx. A lot of challenges took place during COVID because of all of the restrictions, and, you know, the Bronx is a neighborhood that has been impacted with issues that have to do with economics and politics. And so it's not high on the list for one of the places where people will go to do comedy. And I lived in the Bronx when I was little with my mom. And I was kidnapped from the Bronx, which I talk about in my comedy. From my grandmother took me from there. And I wanted my return to the Bronx to be one that was amicable, and celebratory, and just, I wanted to lift my people up. And I know that a lot of my people live in the Bronx.
That's what's up. And thank you for making the time to be with us, considering you're not feeling well, although you look like you're sunbathing over there in California.
Not at all. I've
Not
been,
at all. No.
you know, the weather's been really weird here. And I hate complaining about the weather in California to someone in New York, because it feels like blah, 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 blah. But, it's just been really weird. The weather's been, it's been raining and dreary and whatever. And the other thing I wanted to say is I wanted to do my special in the Bronx because I wanted to bring money to the Bronx. I wanted to,
Nice.
if I was gonna, you know, a special as an investment, and I wanted HBO Max to invest in the communities that I talk about in my stand-up.
I know. And let's talk about your stand-up. Like, when did you decide that you wanted to become a stand-up comedian?
I didn't decide until, well, maybe about 14 years ago that I wanted to do stand-up, but I've always wanted to be a stand-up. I've always wanted to be funny. I've always wanted to be an actor since I was a little kid. I never dreamed about being anything else other than a teacher. And I had my whole life planned out. I was going to be an actress, a stand-up comedian, a star. And then when I retired, I was going to go teach children like me back in the hood. It's always been my dream. So, you know, I encountered Richard Pryor at a very young age because I used to sneak in and watch comedy with one of my uncles, who was one of my younger uncles. And so I just loved the way people would laugh at Richard Pryor. I was like, wow, he's got people in a trance just with laughter and forgetting about what's happening. And I always knew that I wanted to do that.
Yeah, well, it seems like you've encompassed everything that you set out to do, because you are teaching in a sense through your storytelling. I mean, you keep it raw and real. For real. Like, I mean, in Fighting Words on HBO, you share a lot about the diversity you've had to overcome. How challenging was that for you to even put that on paper?
You know, it lives on paper. I have journals all over my room. It looks like a madhouse because I'm everywhere. There's a notebook in my house, and it's because I'm always writing. You know, for me, it's about, it's cathartic. You know, it's really about my own healing and about my own, you know, process of working through the things that I've been through, and then sharing them so that I can help others do the same. Like, I'm like showing you my notebooks, like it's bananas. And so I sit down and I journal and I chronicle instances in my life. And then I go back and sometimes I'm like, oh, I could write a joke about this. And this would resonate with people because, you know, this has happened. And, you know, in Fighting Words, that's what I did. I wanted to show people the process of how things happen in my life and then how they become jokes, specifically the stuff with my father and, you know, Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and those dynamics that come with being part of those cultural groups. So I just sat down and I sit down and I write. And then, you know, when it's time, those things come together to form a set for me in terms of what I want to say at that moment of in my comedy.
Yeah, I hear you. And it's one thing to write it down, and then it's another thing to convert it into a joke. You know, that's a whole process within itself. So does that come easy for you?
So, you know, I wouldn't say that it comes easy because that would be a lie. What it does is come natural for me. And so easy is, I would say, disrespectful to the craft of comedy because it's not easy. And people think that you just go on stage and become funny. But there's this whole editing process that you have to go through when you feel like you found something funny, and you have to sit down and carve out, you know, the fat, trim the fat and carve out the meat that's going to put together a set that's cohesive on stage in the form of a joke. Because that's the difference between a comedian and another type of storyteller. You can't just go on stage and just talk. I mean, they have storytelling shows for that. That's what the Moth is for. But stand-up comedy is specific to jokes and funny. And so you have to figure out what your premise is, what your punchlines are going to be. And it's quite the process. So I wouldn't say that it's easy for me, but I would say that it does come natural.
That's good. Thanks for sharing that and for clarifying it, because I would say, you know, it's really unique. Your style is very unique. And the fact that even with this particular special that you have on HBO, the fact that you were able to do a stand-up routine and then shift it into a documentary, and you want to stay there. We want to experience it with you. I've watched it a couple of times already. And to be bold and brave enough to just share this personal experience with the public, and also incorporate it into your set. It's almost like, for lack of a better word, like therapy.
Yeah, it was cathartic. You know, the director of that documentary is also from the Bronx. Her name
I
is
know Nadia Hallgren. We know her. We have her on. We've had her on.
Oh, good, good. That's my girl, my sister. And you know, it's interesting because I was very conscious about the reaction and the response from the comedy community in terms of the special, because there is the documentary portion. And a traditional stand-up comedy special is, you know, supposed to be an hour of jokes. But I really wanted to take on the challenge of showing us, because there's such a lack of representation when it comes to Latinos, Latinx, Latine people in media, that I was like, you know what, I want to do this. And Nadia is the one that helped me put it together in terms of the concept. But I was just like, she was like, let's show people your process. And that's, you know, she's a brilliant documentarian, and that's something that she knows how to do, is storytelling. She was like, let's show people how your life becomes jokes.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. The whole thing is beautiful. I mean, the whole thing was a wonderful ride. And I personally am a fan of the fact that you really are authentic and transparent in your work, and that you talk about yourself. Most comedians talk about subject matters. You talk a lot about yourself. And that to me is like really brave.
Oh, yeah. I want to normalize people, you know, like the thing about our people, and when I say our people, I'm talking about Black and brown people, people that belong to the Caribbean, you know, the diaspora, our community. Such a disservice has been done to us with the dehumanization of us throughout, you know, history and media and in film and in books and in television. And so for me, I wanted people to see that we, you know, we're like everybody else. And you know how many white people have sent me messages saying that they have the estranged fathers, and that documentary resonated with them. It's not just Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, not just Black people from America, not just, you know, minorities. It's been such an amount, white men, like, yeah, I didn't know my father. I'm the kid of an affair. Like, so I think that for me, it was just a labor of love. It was a piece of art. Like, it was a work of art for me. Like, it was, the concept of it, and from beginning to end, from what I wore to every word that I said, was all part of this story that I wanted to tell. You know, proud descendant of Africans and Tainos, the Taino greats. And you never get to see us in a way that is dignified and glorified like that. And so that was what it was about for me. And so, yeah, I wanted to do the comedy, and I wanted to make sure the comedy was solid, but I also wanted to tell the story. And while I stood there in my white outfit with my Taino symbols that were carved into my outfit, I wanted to make sure that I did my people proud.
And you did. You made us all proud. I'm still proud. And on top of that, you even went a step further. Now you've reaching your hand back, which is also referred to as Sankofa, and you're pulling up the next generation of comedians, which is like really admirable. Because that's the way it needs to be.
You know what, it's been my mantra from the beginning. Like I said, when Tiffany Haddish gave me the special, we talked about this years ago. We both, you know, like, people are like, who originated the concept of giving back? Was it you or Tiffany? And I'm like, it was both of us. It's who we are, which is why we're friends, because the laws of attraction are real. Like, I've always, you know, I did a movie in 2007, 2008 that I wrote and I produced, and I put 40 comedians in it because I was like, it was a comedy, and I was like, I got to keep, you know, work in my community with the people that I roll with and my clique. And so Puerto Rican and Dominican comedians who are in the homelands don't get a chance and the exposure. There are a few that have you heard about, but you don't ever see them being shown. And so
Right, like highlighted, like showcased on a
yeah.
broader scale.
I wanted people to see that comedy lives there too. I also wanted to do comedy there to see if my comedy worked. I talk a lot about being Puerto Rican and Dominican, so I should be funny in Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. And the women, because in the Dominican Republic, women just started doing comedy publicly like 2, maybe 3 years ago. So I wanted to really show us in our full spectrum, how, representation of all of us, from the ethnic groups to the social classes to everything, because we are all, we're the only people who are penalized for being successful. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the people of color are always being penalized. White people can be everything on TV and it's fine. But when when you're successful, you're a sellout. And then when you're poor, there's dignity in that. And we have to start normalizing being successful and being happy to be successful, because that's who we are. That's what we come from. Because before colonization, we come from the greats of, Africa and Puerto Rico and the greater and lesser Antilles and whatever you want to classify it as. We come from great people, and we should be okay walking into the light of being great now. And so I wanted to show all of that. I wanted people to see us not begging for money, no crime. No, I wanted you to see how beautiful our tierras are.
That's what's up. Oh my gosh. And thank you for bringing it here to our viewers. We are talking to the one and only Aida Rodriguez, Humanizing Humor. That's the title I'm giving you. Yeah, baby. And once again, for you guys, Aida Rodriguez's comedy special, Fighting Words, is currently streaming on HBO Max. Be sure to check it out. She's witty and funny, which brings me to, don't forget to follow her on IG at Funny Aida. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll speak to the Latin Grammy Cultural Foundation's first female president, Tanya Ramos-Puig. You don't want to miss, so don't go anywhere.
Mira, what's up, Rhina? What's up, nena? This is Tita. I am here to wish you a happy birthday, okay? Because today's your special day, fíjate. Tonight, I want you to party like it's 1999. Ay, what year is it? Hey, mira, thank you so much for doing a voice for one of the characters of my Christmas special. Que, by the way, it's gonna be premiering on December 20th. That's right, so look out for it, okay? Happy birthday to you. Para. Mira, nena, happy birthday, okay?
Hey everyone, welcome back. Our next guest has devoted her career to providing and improving educational opportunities for underserved students. And today she continues these efforts as the Latin Grammy Cultural Foundation's first female president. The foundation's mission is geared towards supporting the next generation of Latin creators through its scholarship programs. And joining us to tell us more, please welcome Latin Grammy Cultural Foundation President Tanya Ramos-Puig.
Hi, Rhina. Thank you so much for having me again. It is always a pleasure to be able to spend time with you, and I appreciate you always amplifying the work that I'm involved in. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited to have you on, closing out 2020 as the first female president of the Latin Grammy Cultural Foundation. I just can't say it enough. I'm so excited and so proud of you. And we're absolutely happy to share this with our audience. It's almost as if though, as we grow, we also are encouraging and educating our audience into understanding the contributions we're making to our next generation, which is what you stand for. So what does it feel like to be the first female president?
Rhina, it feels amazing. I have to tell you, I am waiting for the day where it's no longer a first, right? I'm filled with so much pride in being the first president, as you mentioned, but we would have advanced the day we don't have to say it's the first anymore. So I just feel like I want to continue paying that forward. And I know as a similar and dedicated badass woman, we got to keep paving the way so that there'll be less of it being a first. But I will tell you that it is thrilling. you know my work. I've spent all my career trying to even the playing field. My focus is educational equity, access, and success, paying it forward. I see myself in the students that I serve. And when this opportunity at the foundation became available, I said, what a great dream, right? To really be able to continue the great work that I think is so transformational, and then marry it with music. As a Latina who loves Latin music, to be able to marry the two was a true gift.
I know, I was gonna say, you know, here you were building schools around the world. I mean, not physically, but, you know, spirit.
Right. I know.
And then I will share with our audience, you would always send me these really kooky memes and and videos of turkeys dancing with music, with our cultural music.
Yes. So
That's
think
on a
about it,
personal
it's like,
note.
it's full circle. It's really
Right.
come full circle.
Right,
As
right.
particularly as two very proud Latinas, it brings me a lot of pride and joy.
So, all right. So, what does it look like for you now versus what you were doing, right? In the
course.
sense that, yes, okay, great. Now you've got the music aspect incorporated, and you're also, I want to say, dealing directly with creatives, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're nurturing the creatives, the future
Absolutely.
leaders.
Absolutely. So just to give your listeners a sense, the Latin Grammy Cultural Foundation is really built on the premise that every student, regardless of the circumstances that they're born into, they should have the opportunity to have a quality education. And I stop for a moment because I get emotional as I think about it, because I don't believe that your circumstances should dictate where you end up in life. And it is just so heartwarming to know that we're working with students and we're fulfilling their dreams. These are students from all around the globe that should have a chance to not only be able to pursue their educational aspirations, but their musical aspirations. So as we mentioned, there's a joint mission involved here. It's making sure that every student has access to a quality education, and those students that want to be our future Latin music creators, that we're investing in developing a pipeline, developing their experiences, developing their opportunities to be able to be a part of this genre.
That's lovely. Definitely, especially in the realm of hope and possibility. And so, so how does one, okay, so I know you offer scholarships and grant programs. So how does one qualify for even being considered?
Sure. So all of our students have been accepted to a 4-year college before they're able to apply for the scholarship. The scholarships range from age 17 to 24. They have to demonstrate. And one thing that I want to make sure I emphasize for the listeners, we are all about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so while we are the Latin Grammy Cultural Foundation, that doesn't necessarily mean that all applicants have to be Latino. They have to demonstrate an interest in preserving Latin music and want to pursue that. So we have students from all over the world, Poland, you name it, that are really interested in investing their musical aspirations in Latino music. And then we also have a number of tiered scholarship programs. We have our Prodigy, which is our most prestigious at the 200K level, and enables students to go into Berklee School of Music. This past year, with much pride, as a Boricua, Puerto Rican, right, New Yorican, we awarded our first Puerto Rican student, Xavier, from Puerto Rico, who plays the cuatro, and Juanes presented him with that scholarship because this year was the Juanes Prodigy Scholarship, and that just filled us up with so much pride. We also have 3 gifted scholarships at 100K level. And just this past year, we were so thrilled to have awarded it to 3 females. So really trying to invest not only in that pipeline of talent, but giving a voice and opportunities for more females in the industry. And then we have our gifted scholarships, which are $10,000 each, or up to $10,000.
Oh my gosh, you know, just listening to you, you know, I could just sit here and listen to you all day. Mainly because of the passion that you have in the work that you're doing. It is just a job for you, you know, it's a mission. And and how blessed are they to have you at the helm.
Oh, you're so kind. I feel blessed. We're servant leaders, and I know that you are as well. And so when we're giving back and we're investing of ourselves into making the world better than we found it, that's the biggest gift of all, particularly during this season of giving.
Beautiful, beautiful. So before we go, let's talk about the partnership with the Ford Motor Company Fund.
They have been Amazing. From the very beginning, the foundation has been around for about 7 years, and they were our first corporate sponsor and funder and continue to be. They've enabled us to be able to donate well over $600,000 in musical instruments to students from around the globe and schools from around the globe. And most recently, we just had a hybrid kind of virtual opportunity with Camilo. And we were able to award musical instruments to Robert Morgan Educational Center here in Miami. I'm actually filming here from Miami. And so it was just so amazing to be able to make an impact in the lives of those students and to have Camilo be a sponsor as well as a voice for the work. And so we just want to give a quick shout out to Ford Fund Motor Co., who makes that possible.
All right, wonderful. So the last question is like, if someone's listening and they're interested in applying, what does the timeline look like?
Well, the applications will go live in the next few weeks. And so we would encourage folks to go onto our website and they're able to download the application. And I know you'll mention our website shortly. And then of course, if there are any questions relative to the application process, my information is available. They can email me, email my team, and we're happy to walk folks through the process. We promote it all over in all of the schools. We're doing a lot of virtual online sessions to promote the scholarship application process.
Is there anything special on the horizon coming up from here until the end of this, the calendar year of 2021?
I am so glad that you asked that question. As a matter of fact, there is. This year, we're having our first ever holiday campaign. We've coined it the power of music and education. And what's really exciting about that, Rhina, is that it's 25 days of giving. We kicked it off November 30th through Noche Buena, December 24th. And then we have companies that are sponsoring what we're calling Power Days, right? Playing off of that power of music and education. We've had supporters like TikTok at a 6-figure level, Disney at a 6-figure level, and we're also partnering with them on Encanto, so being able to kind of amplify that recent movie. And then now we are really hoping that folks will get involved. Any amount will support the great work that we're doing. And so if you go onto Instagram, there's information around how you can donate and just, give the gift of education. It's the gift that keeps giving. So 25 days of giving, holiday campaign, and we're gonna be on the billboard in Times Square. So check us out.
Nice. Tis the season of giving.
Tis the season.
Leave things better than we found them.
Love it. Thank
you.
you.
Way to go. No, thank you. That is the Latin Grammy Cultural Foundation President, Tanya Ramos-Puig. And once again, if you are interested in getting involved and for more information, you can visit on the Latin Grammy Cultural Foundation. You can visit latingrammy.com and be sure to follow them on Instagram at Latin Grammy FDN. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear from stand-up comedian, Mr. Tangana himself, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Our third guest is a Latino comedian from New York who's conquered stand-up comedy with his unique storytelling style after gaining inspiration from the Latino sketch comedy troupe New Yorican Rule, from the legendary New Yorican Poets Cafe, where he and I performed together an entire year in a residency titled Barriolesque. And today, he's not only recognized for his stand-up comedy, but for his productions and his charitable work. Joining us to tell us more, we welcome my boy, Mr. Tangana himself, Edgar Rivera.
Yeah, yo. Happy birthday, Rhina.
Thank you. You see, I do my little pinky.
There you go. People get so mad at me because I throw the pinky at everything. I say, what is the pinky? I said, I got tired of the piece. I got tired of thumbs. I just do the pinky. That's it.
The thing is that you're identified by it.
Yeah.
Hi, Edgar. It's so lovely to see you. I know you're in LA. This is the beauty of doing these virtual interviews that we're able to connect in spite of. And so let's talk about what the past 2 years have looked like for you, senor.
Oof, man. The past 2 years have been rough, man. Unlike, like everybody else, I guess. We all have gone through it in the past 2 years. But 2 years ago, I had an accident. I fell down a flight of stairs and it completely took me out of the game. 2 surgeries, I had to learn how to walk again, basically 6 months without walking. So it was really drastic, man. It happened in 2019. December. So I felt like by May, maybe I could limp myself on the stage because you know how it is. We need this stage. People don't understand. Laughter is the best medicine. But what it does to us, giving the laughter is priceless. So I figured I was like, hey, you know what? I could limp myself on stage. And then a pandemic hit and the whole world got shut down. And then I was like, everybody knows how I feel now.
Right.
Already shut down.
Right. I mean, it was pretty extreme, but it's interesting how, although your circumstances were different from everyone else's, well, not necessarily because we all ended up having to shelter in place, but in some aspect, you were given the opportunity to heal with ease and grace because you had no choice. None of us had a choice for that matter. But that still doesn't change the fact that you were unable to be amongst people physically, right? Even if let's say you healed within the 6 months. I don't know what your healing process was, but just in your field, which requires that present, that in-person exchange, I can't imagine, and I feel for you guys, really.
It was a rough 2020. It was crazy. When all this started with the Zooms, which I am grateful, I could do a Zoom interview, but comedy on a Zoom, it's not the same at all. It was just so weird. Me looking into a camera and not knowing if people are laughing on the other end. Because as comedians, we need that feedback. We need, we work off that feedback. So I wasn't so much into the Zoom, but now that the world is opening up little by little, I'm traveling again. I'm back out there. I'm working as much.
I know you were recently here in New York.
Yes, I was there. I performed in Pennsylvania, Allentown, Pennsylvania. I did New York, the Bronx. I did Jersey. I did a few spots out there. Every time I go back to New York, I got to hit everything I can.
So how's California been treating you?
California is beautiful. No coats. No cold. Everybody say, will you ever come back? I'm like, I don't know. I love it. I love it out here. It's a different pace. It's being raised in the Bronx, you know how it is. We're born in the concrete jungle. It's like buildings. We are all on top of each other. Not till you move somewhere else do you realize how congested we are. And why, when you have a problem, it becomes my problem, and that's why everybody's so mad. So you come out here, everything is in the open. I love it. I love it out here. I miss the food in New York.
Yeah,
that's one thing that I do miss. But
I know. I did LA for a little while. I was very disappointed with bagels, pizza, and Chinese food. There isn't no China. Well, when I was there was no Chinese food. It was like Thai, and that's not the same as Chinese. But I'm happy it's working for you. I'm happy that it's, shifted your mindset. Speaking of which, I understand that you also have a podcast called Brothers in Arms that is geared towards assisting men with being, I guess, fully self-expressed is the way to convey it, because it's all about mental health awareness.
Yes. So last year, during the midst of the pandemic, I had a friend that committed suicide. And it really messed me up. It really messed me up to the point that I got so scared, because I was one of those people myself that don't talk. As a man, my problems are my problems. Yeah, I'll tell you I'm okay. I'm a comedian. I could hide it very well. I could hide all my problems very well. And his death scared me, because I'm like, man, what do you have to go? What are you going through inside that you actually get to that point? So that's how the podcast came about. So I'm doing it with Eric Nieves, and I have Dr. Dan Radner. So I also have a doctor on the podcast. And basically, we just talk about mental health. We talk about, how men should express, how we should connect with our emotions, how it's okay to cry. I grew up in a Latino household where crying was a sign of weakness. Like, when you're little, you can't cry. That's only little girls cry. You don't cry. And I feel like we hold everything in. So the podcast is going good. We just wrapped up the first season, 19 episodes. and looking forward January to kick off the second season again, and hopefully bring more awareness and let guys know that it's okay to connect. It's okay to talk. You know.
That's so honorable. I love it. I love how you're destigmatizing just being emotional, right? Because we always refer to women as emotional creatures, but guess what? How different are men? I mean, it's just a matter of conditioning. That's it.
I feel like women have this, you know, and you know, it's crazy. I dedicated the show to men. I want to talk to my brothers out there, and most of our listeners and viewers are women, which is interesting because women, you know, women están metidas en todo. They want to know what's happening in the world.
Well, there's also that familiarization of hearing it come from men's voices. Yeah. So Eric is here in New York and you're over there and you guys do this simultaneously. That's interesting.
So Eric is in New York, Dr. Dan is in Ohio, and I am here. So yeah, so we the same way we're doing this, Zoom, you know, and it's a beautiful thing actually. One good thing about the Zoom is that we don't have to worry for someone to come into the studio. We don't have to fly no one in. We can just do it.
Right. It's definitely cost efficient. So before we go, let's just share with everybody where they can listen to the actual podcast, Brothers in Arms.
www.brothersinarms.tv. Brothersinarms.tv, man. Check it out. I show a whole different side of me, Rita. You know, I mean, it's crazy. It has nothing to do with comedy. I've cried in this podcast, and that's how much I share, you know, and I open up on it. And the guests that we've had have done the same thing. And you know, ladies, if you're listening and you want your man to express themselves more or connect with their emotions, send them that link, brothersinarms.tv, and then, you know, hopefully they'll open up a little bit more. Ooh, open. There
you go. That was my closer. Edgar Rivera, everyone. Mr. Tanya and I being a little more serious this time around. Brothersinarms.tv. That's his podcast where they talk all things men and mental health awareness once again. And also for more on Edgar Rivera, you can check him out on Instagram at Edgar Rivera Comedy. All right, stay tuned because Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.
We begin with a Heisman pose in the Big Apple for Alabama's Bryce Young. The Crimson Tide quarterback became the fourth Alabama player to win college football's most prestigious award and the first signal caller to do so for the program. Young saved his best performances for last, and in doing so ran away with this year's Heisman Trophy award, winning the award in a ceremony in New York City on Saturday night. A sophomore and a former five-star prospect from California, Young entered the season with sky-high expectations. It was down the stretch in a dramatic come-from-behind win at Auburn to close out the regular season, and then by dominating number 3 Georgia and its top-ranked defense in the SEC championship game a week later, that sealed his Heisman victory. Here's more from Times Square.
It was a whirlwind of emotions for sure, hearing your name, and then, you know, compose yourself to speak. So it was surreal, and it was truly an honor and a blessing.
Bryce certainly was fantastic for us this year, and so pleased and happy and proud that he was actually honored and recognized for that.
43 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions for Young this season will see him and Bama in the college football playoff. In at number 4, Army-Navy did not disappoint at MetLife Stadium last weekend. Navy snapped Army's 4-game win streak in the game. Navy's defense limited Army to 57 second-half yards and a season-low 232 overall in a 17-13 victory Saturday in a game played at the Meadowlands to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Both teams traded early scores in the first half. Army led 13-7 at the break, but an early third-quarter touchdown, seen right here, propelled Navy, giving them a 14-13 lead. Navy's defense and a late field goal sealed it.
We were going to come out swinging. You know, we were going to come out swinging. We were going to be on attack mode from the beginning. You know, our toughness is been called into question, and I've been doing this a long time. Our guys on our team are some of the toughest people in this world, so that's the wrong people to challenge their toughness.
Navy's season is over with 4 wins, but this one will be a memorable one for a long time for Navy. Army and Bronx native quarterback Christian Anderson has 8 wins on the season and will play Missouri in the Armed Forces Bowl in Texas on December 22nd. I'll be rooting for Army and Anderson in that one. Bowl season is upon us as college football winds down. Formula One and the racing season is now complete, and what an absolute season it was. The Formula One championship came down to a winner-take-all final race and one lap of racing in which Max Verstappen, the eager young rival, stormed past Lewis Hamilton to win his first title Sunday in a dramatic and controversial finish to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. For most of the race, Verstappen and his Red Bull team had no answer for the speed of Mercedes' Hamilton. The 7-time champion led most of the 58-lap race. After the safety car came out following a crash, race director Michael Massey decided to allow lap cars to overtake the safety car on the restart. That helped Verstappen, who was in second place but was several cars behind Hamilton because he had pitted for the restart and set up the final lap drama. The decision resulted in a chaotic lap with Verstappen running on fresh, soft tires from his pit stop, pulling ahead of Hamilton, whose hard tires had not been changed since the 14th lap. Max becomes one of the youngest F1 champions ever at age 24. Congrats to Max Verstappen. The racing world is buzzing over the F1 finale. It's also in a state of mourning this week. Al Unser Sr., a 4-time winner of the Indianapolis 500 and 3-time champion in what is now the IndyCar Series, died last Thursday. Unser had been diagnosed with cancer 17 years ago. He was 82 years of age. Indianapolis Motor Speedway said early last Friday that Unser died at his home in New Mexico with his wife Susan by his side. In addition to his 4 Indianapolis 500 wins, his son, Al Unser Jr., won the race twice, making them the only father and son duo to win the race. Al Sr.'s brother Bobby won the 500 3 times, making them the only brothers to do so. Godspeed, Big Al, you will be missed. The same could be said in the NFL. The Denver Broncos on Sunday honored its former star wide receiver Demaryius Thomas. Thomas died suddenly last week at age 33. He played 10 seasons in the NFL, most of them with the Broncos, and is considered one of the best wide receivers in franchise history. Winning 2 AFC championships and Super Bowl 50, he was selected to multiple Pro Bowls and is second all-time in Broncos history in receiving yards. Broncos players wore Thomas's team number 88 as a decal on their helmets during the game against the Detroit Lions in Denver on Sunday. The number also was painted on Denver's sideline. Denver paid tribute to Thomas in a 38-10 victory over Detroit. Our condolences to the Thomas family. That's 5 stories that you may have missed. Here's 5 to look out for. The Giants will host rival Dallas in their final home game of the season this weekend. The G-Men have dropped 2 straight, including last weekend's road game to the Chargers. Here's more.
Yeah, you can't afford, with how close every game is in this league and how fine the line is between success and, coming up short, to go out there and make mistakes. We got to make sure we do our best job coaching and we execute our best way as players. That's the reality of what you have to do to have success in this league. And there's too many opportunities out there today that we didn't take advantage of. There's plenty of things that we need to do better. There's plenty of opportunities in the game that, if we're able to capitalize on, we're in a different position.
Not my best. Didn't feel like we were as effective as a pass offense as we need to be. Offensive line played well. One of the better pass rushing defenses in the league, and I believe we only gave up 1 sack. We ran the ball well, so starting with me, we needed to be more effective in the pass game.
Meantime, the Jets travel to rival Miami this Sunday. That's also a 1 p.m. kickoff. Gang Green was crushed by New Orleans last Sunday at home. We go back inside the locker room for more.
I think anyone would be disappointed with any loss, regardless if you're in playoff contention or not. Simple as that. It sucks to lose. No one wants to lose. We don't go out there practice every day to lose. So, it's disappointing, but I'd be disappointed about any game. I don't care if we're in playoffs or, anything like that. A loss is a loss. I hate losing. I love winning. But, that's what it was. Yeah, it's disappointing, but no matter what, it's going to be disappointing no matter what.
And at number 3 on the back end of 5-on-5, 21 of the top 25 college basketball teams on the men's side will be in action tomorrow. We talked about it recently on the show. There have been plenty of upsets to go around. Rutgers and Ron Harper Jr. hung one on Purdue. that won't be forgotten anytime soon. Here's more.
And what these guys did was the turnaround. They were focused. This is a good basketball team. We keep telling you guys that. And you saw tonight a good basketball team, and we're missing a few pieces. So proud of the crowd. The students were unbelievable. The environment, the band, the Riot Squad, the cheerleaders, the dance team, and all the fans in the community come out, make this a hard place to play, because when we go on the road in this league, it's tough. It's a tough league to go on the road in, and we've made Jersey Mike's now a place that's tough for people to come in and play. So I thank you guys, for that, and I thank the fans for coming out and saw it like a history was made tonight.
What a shot, what a finish in college basketball. And at number 4, move over to the pro side. The Knicks will be in Boston Saturday night at 7 p.m. And at number 5, we'll stay with the NBA. The Nets will be home to host Orlando in Brooklyn Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. The Nets will also host Denver on Sunday at 7:30. That's 5 on 5 to the C-list for the crowning of a New York City champion. Well, fans, we can't seem to win an NBA championship, a Super Bowl, a World Series, or a Stanley Cup here in New York, at least not of late. But the Big Apple now has the best soccer team in the country. That's right. New York City FC have their first MLS Cup in franchise history as they defeated the Portland Timbers via a penalty shootout after the match ended 1-1 after regulation and extra time. NYCFC keeper Sean Johnson was the hero in this one as he made 2 clutch saves to secure a 4-2 shootout win to clinch the title. Here's more with the finals MVP.
It feels unbelievable to be able to call ourselves champions. What a ride so far. This journey was crazy this year. So many ups, so many downs, and we talked amongst ourselves before the game and just said it's a massive opportunity to make it all worth it. And this is what we live for: these moments, to be the MVP of the finals. It means the world, but it means so much more to lift the cup for this club.
Much respect to NYCFC. The team has been good for years. Since joining the MLS in 2013, they have been very competitive. They have also been good tenants at Yankee Stadium, too. It was cool to see Yankee manager Aaron Boone go and show his support in the final. NYCFC had their moment at City Hall this past Tuesday, well-deserved and hopefully inspiring for the Yankees and the rest of the Big Apple pro teams. That's your look at sports. I'm Bobby C.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Open Legacy Women. Yeah, they are an all-women traditional musical group rooted in Afro-Dominican and Afro-Puerto Rican traditions. The group features the most gifted drummers, singers, and dancers of Afro-Caribbean music, and most of all, their performances are built on sisterhood and culture. And joining us to tell us more, we welcome Legacy founder and director, my Sag Soul sister, Manuela Arce-Niegas. Hello.
Hi, beautiful Rhina, beautiful people. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, happy birth month, Sag Soul sister.
Birthday to us. Fire, more fire for the Saggies.
Fuego, fuego, fuego. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for everything that you've accomplished, everything that you are, this legacy that you continue to build on. I mean, I opened up obviously talking about legacy women. I do want to introduce the group to our audience, and I know we're going to get a performance later, but I believe you founded this group in like 10 years ago, and I've seen it go through so many renditions, and what you've built is so empowering. I mean, just the whole group to be all women. How many of you are there all together now?
So right now we're 10, and we are, once a legacy woman, always a legacy woman. And so some of our sisters have moved to other states or have taken on other endeavors and occasionally return. But right now we're actively 10 women who are out and about performing, rehearsing, showing up for community, fighting for justice, for women's empowerment, for people's healing, all of the things where they will have us, we will be there.
And so let's talk a little bit about like your roles in your career, and how everything is kind of all interrelated, right? So you're the director of the Andres Family Funds, right?
Yes, I'm the director of the Andres Family Fund. I arrived to Andres when I was actually looking for side gigs, trying to put myself through graduate school, where I'm working on a dissertation focused on Palo Mayombe, Afro-Cuban religion and empowerment through music. And so, you know, for me, it's about all roads lead to healing, to wellness, which I think for communities of color actually requires us to build power. So wellness and healing happens when we have the power to dictate the shape of our environment, the policies and systems as they affect us, to take care for each other, to extend each other love and education and opportunity. And so, you know, at Andres, we focus on young people impacted by, you know, the new iteration of slavery, right? So our music comes from a time where Black people were stolen from Africa and brought to Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. And we used it as a vehicle to kind of grapple with the pain of slavery, of being of plantation life. And, you know, in this day and age, the new slavery is the incarceration and the criminalization of our community. So the amount of people who are locked up in the US is unheard of, unreal, but it's not a surprise given the history of our country. And so our music is still to tend to that wound of incarceration, of entrapment, the bonds of the society that try to shackle us. And we use the music to promote liberation. What does it feel like to be in a vibrant, free body? What does it feel like to sing about our worth and our power, to connect to our ancestors and their legacy of resilience and just brilliance? And so, you know, my funding work is related to supporting young people to do that. My arts and cultural work is related to supporting women and girls to stand up and speak out and use their voice through song and to share the medicine of our people. What does it look like to be in communities where we're healthy, where we're loving on each other, where we're holding space in the bomba bate, in the circle, for people to emote and let out what the harms and ills that they're experiencing in their daily lives, to let it out, and for community to hold them. And so that's how we show up as women, Puerto Rican, Dominican women, who really believe that we are all inherently sacred, beautiful, deserve to be well, and music can be a vehicle for helping people reconnect to that.
Wow, and it's so powerful. Everything you just shared is like, it resonated so deeply with me, because the other practice within the cultura is that most of the time the percussionists are men, whereas your group is entirely women, and y'all play all of the drums, all the variations of drums.
You know, I want to shout out my sisters from the previous iteration. So the first time we saw largely an all women's bomba group in New York was around 2006. And that formation was called Yaya. So shout out to my Yayas. We started at a time when it wasn't friendly for women to play bomba. Even though there was a history of women in the 30s and 40s who maybe like were, you know, they were looked down upon or mislabeled in terms of their gender or sexuality because they took up a drum, but it wasn't super popular and it was a little hard when we first started. And now what we've seen is, thanks to Yaya and the continued work of legacy women, we see really amazing women-led groups in Puerto Rico, in Florida, in Chicago. You know, shout out to my sister Ibeliz Bombera de Corazon. Shout out to Denise Solis and Julia Cepeda out in the Bay. You know, these sisters are Marieng from Tambuye on the island. Like, we know that women are powerful. We lead and hold down our families, our communities. We rarely get the credit for it, but we're not afraid to put our hands on the drum and do the hard work. And so yeah, about teaching us to do that and empowering us to step.
I know, you're so generous. You're always, you know, you're always recognizing everyone else. And really, this is about you and your leadership. And before we go, because we're going to have to wrap up really soon, and I could sit here and talk to you all day, but we must mention this wonderful honor that you're going to be receiving as one of the 50 outstanding cultural leaders by the Kennedy Center.
I'm super,
really quickly.
Like, proud, Rhina. So excited to be named amongst the next 50 dubbed by the Kennedy Center, the 50 cultural and artistic leaders of the last 50 years who've made it a point to lead all of us to a more inspired and inclusive and compassionate world. And I'm all about that life. It's the heart space. We bring the fire to liberation, but also fire to connection, to love, to healing. And so it's an honor to be dubbed as a leader in that space with our Afro-Caribbean roots traditions. And so look out for 2022 on the launch, the announcement, and all the great activities that will come from that endeavor and that honor.
It's so well deserved. Congratulations. Ay, mi corazón.
Yeah.
Manuela Arciniega, who is the founder and director of Legacy Women. And you guys don't go anywhere because Legacy Women is going to perform for us next. Hey everyone, welcome back here now to perform a special traditional piece. Please welcome Legacy Women.
Yo me voy para Borinque. Manuela, Legacy Women. For more information on the Legacy Women, you can visit them on Instagram at Legacy Women NYC. I gotta wrap this up before I burn my cake. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the recablecast tonight and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. And I just want to thank you all for celebrating my birthday with me. Thank you. Happy holidays.